I want to tell our listeners, because I don't think they know, that I'm transplanted from Oregon down here in the southern state of Louisiana, and you're still up in the northwest state of Washington. So I'm in the tropics and you're not. And just wanted to tell you that I hope you're staying warm. But listen, I want to also tell the listeners about your nuggets of information. You know, Delia is always speaking somebody else's, another famous person's philosophy, but she is a mighty philosopher on her own. And if you go to her personal website, themightymuser.com, you will find that she has written books, and you'll find some equally inspiring and profound gems of encouragement. So be sure and check out our personal websites. We both have much more to offer than just what you're getting in this hour of time on Voice America. So please do that. My personal blog is amritanicolemarketing.com, and you will find on there other websites that I have. One called Spirit Wine Publications. It's a spiritual bookstore, and it's got spiritual greeting cards and all kinds of really cool stuff. So be sure and check that out. Okay, so, Dee, I don't think I told you this, but each week I'm going to try to do a Did You Know? Because I am a perpetual student, I like to get these nuggets, to use your term, of bits of information that just kind of stick with me and tickle me and share them with people. So the one that I have today, my Did You Know, is very fitting for most of the country right now and for you. But did you know that beaver have fur on their back teeth in the winter? I know, that's just so amazing. That's so that they can still function and be beavers and keep building and everything when the water is freezing. Anyway, I found that on the marvelous DVD God of Wonders. Is amazing. So look it up, you'll love it. Anyway, I promised that I would speak on the principle of harmlessness on this session, and so that's what I'm going to do. I'm very excited about it. And remember to keep in mind that I am not a spiritual guru or teacher or anything like that. I am just another cohabitant on this planet with you, going through the spiritual walk, going through the evolution, and all the hundreds of thousands of moments that Dee Lee says is in a year. And so I just want you to know that the information that I'm sharing on this program is information that I have been through myself and come to be aware of and understand. And the principles that I do speak of, I have proven them first. That was one of my divine directives, was that I am not allowed to speak unless I have proven firsthand myself, walked through the fire. And I'm telling you, trying to change some of the ways of my thinking and everything over the years has been like sweating blood. It is not an easy thing to do, to change and to follow the way that the ageless wisdom principles originally were intended to guide us here on earth. But it's totally worth it. But I just want you to know that these are my impressions, my observations, and they were absolutely miraculous for me. And if anything that I share with you on these shows and with these principles that I put on my website or speak about in the show help one person, if only one sentence in all of it helps one person on their spiritual walk, I will be delighted and my job will have been done. So just trust me. I just want you to know that I care very much for this struggle. I see it all around me. I'm still in it myself. I have not perfected this walk. I have only been able to perfect over the last decade or so of putting the principles into practice. And I too had to start with harmlessness. And it is something that's in your face every second of the day. I promise. It's not anything that you can just say, okay, that's what I'm going to do. It's not going to happen that way. And be kind to yourself. Don't be hard on yourself, because it is a practice. You've got generations and lifetimes of stinking thinking that you have to rein in, like 2 Corinthians 10:5 says. You got to rein it in, clean it up, and start fresh with new thinking. And there are times during the day that I've been doing this for a long time and I'm still doing it, but I bet it was several hundred times a day when I first started that I would have to rein myself in, and I would just flat out say, stop it. Stop it. I bet I said it 100 times a day. Now I'm down to maybe a couple dozen times a day. But it's something that, is an ongoing process, and effort counts. Every time you step out to try to change your words or your behavior to where that it does not offend anybody or cause harm or build your karma or build negative circumstances for you. Anytime you step out to be sincere and make those changes, the entire universe will step up and help you. And you will find as time goes on that you look back and you think, what the heck, from where I came from? And what happened? When did that happen? It just really is, I don't know of a better word to say than magical, but this is a principle of God. What else can you expect? So trust Him. That's the biggest thing. Okay. The big thing is you get it in your spirit. You know this is what you're going to do. And then you step out to do it and you're not quite sure. Just got to trust it. Trust it. Do it anyway. One thing that I recognized that helped me was somewhere in my studies of the ageless wisdom was that we were given an earth of phenomenal goodness and beauty and principles to help us live a blissful life. So that then putting in perspective that all the negative, all the glamour, all the merry-go-round chaos that we all seem to find ourselves on, no matter what we do or what we believe or how hard we pray or how hard we try, is a lie. It's part of the illusion, and we have to pull ourselves out of it. And that's what the principles are for, and that's what I have discovered, and they work. And I just encourage you to trust me a little, trust in the universal principle, trust in the divine principle of God, that these principles work. And I also want to let you know that when I talk about the divine principles, it is strictly your choice how you want to perceive what I'm teaching, and understand that when I say that these divine principles and what I speak of is fostering the growth of spiritual consciousness or broadening the consciousness, it does not mean leaving your God and following another. It is about experiencing God more fully each moment, each day, and each lifetime. It is the most delightful and perpetual experience for mankind, right into infinity. Part of what it takes to change the consciousness and awareness of the magnitude of God and His omnipresence, and the fact that that omnipresence engulfs us. We are all one. And keep that in mind in all of your actions and thoughts and everything too. And getting to that consciousness is through the thought process. And I'm going to talk next week on thought and give you some tools there, cleaning them up, okay? But you wonder, okay, so what do you think about when you get rid of the garbage that's possessed your mind for so long? Now, what do you think about? So you can make a list, but let's face it, 95% of our thinking is stinking and stuff we shouldn't be thinking about anyway. And 99.9% of those thoughts are exactly what's been ruling our circumstances. You probably recognize that. And it's written, that God's people perish without a vision. So I have to surmise that the principle of harmlessness was put into play to help bring about the sincere soul whose soul has been tapped to straighten up, so to speak, or remember that which was embedded on our souls from the beginning. And as the mind has been cleansed, it's easier for the divine energies to make their way in. And you'll find new vigor in your new thoughts and your life goals. And it's also written that we're given the desires of our heart as we are diligent to obey God's principles. And most believers just assume Santa is coming early. But it is meant that the desires which now come into your mind are those which lead you to living harmlessly. And in the practice of that, your intended life begins to take shape around you. Ageless wisdom teacher, the Tibetan, he tells us, I'm going to read this to you. The harmlessness to which is referred in connection with you is not negative or sweet or kindly activity, as so many believe. It is a state of mind, and one which in no way negates firm or even drastic action. It concerns motive and involves the determination that the motive behind all activity is goodwill. That motive might lead to positive and sometimes disagreeable action or speech. But when harmlessness and goodwill base the mental approach, nothing can come of it but good. So, folks, that is a principle of God. And through the diligence and sincerity of your heart, mind, and soul as you pursue those new goals within, you will experience one day or one moment something to cause you to recognize how time has passed and how unhampered life has become. Not to mention the ease in which circumstances which were once overwhelming for you have been discarded. The most luscious result, I'm using Dee's word here, as Dee calls it, is that through every circumstance there has dwelt a peace and a new kind of joy, the kind that cannot be squelched. You will recognize that. Now, I can speak on this with authority with that peace and joy I just mentioned because I had purposed in my own heart to work through the transitional stages which has so long held me in bondage, and I recognized it, and there were often extreme tears of agony, much as one in recovery from drugs, because really how I had been thinking and acting had been an addiction. Do you not recognize that in your own thought processes as you look back and contemplate on why circumstances keep happening? It's an addiction. It is like an addiction, but it is the human experience, and it makes a difference in time on where we are on the evolutionary ladder. Just always remember that none are written in stone, and so none must be left behind in forgiveness and understanding that they too are on some level of forward movement, no matter what it looks like. We need to have that kind of grace shown us. We need to be practicing that. That is all part of the principle of harmlessness. I can't even make myself stop to think of what it looked like to my own circle of family and friends before I stepped on the path. And then again, as I walked through the stages, through years, to the liberty I now enjoy, I had to muddle through with blinders on to those less enlightened but caring and concerned who would distract me. Once I stepped onto the path that I intuitively knew would be the only way to my personal freedom. And it's taken me almost 70 years of this lifetime to advance this far in my spiritual walk, my podvig, and it's still really only the beginning. That's why I say I'm still here with you, and it's still only the beginning. For every stage in which I had victory, I think I have arrived, and immediately find myself humbled in the next stage, the next demon that had long beset me, which is now exposed and ready for battle. Okay, it is the way of the soul perfection process. It is intended that we evolve in some little way every day, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, in every way possible. And living harmlessly in thought, that will aid you to refrain from harmful words, and in that will aid to change the heart and action. It's long been known and proven scientifically that what you have most of in your head wins. Contemplate on that. You'll know the truth of it. Trust your spirit. You'll know the truth of it. And as you are victorious, even in the tiniest successes, the energies which have tormented you will finally be rendered powerless, clearing the way for your intended blissful life to return and remain. Ageless wisdom teaches, as Alice Bailey writes, the life of Christ is a life to be lived today, eventually by all. It is a life of joy and happiness, of tests and problems too. But its essence is love, and its method is love. It leaves us an example that we should follow his steps and carry on the work which he initiated. It is also written, practice a harmlessness that thinks no thought which could poison or produce misunderstanding, and which does no action which could hurt the least of your brethren. This is the main virtue which will enable the soul on its spiritual journey to tread with safety on the difficult path of divine character development. But that's pretty powerful. You can read much more on harmlessness with the show audio and outline on my website, samritanicolemarketing.com. And I encourage you to practice such a harmlessness this week. Bite your brain, bite your tongue, plead for a higher help to do this change, and then, in peace and gratitude for each training opportunity, calmly wait and watch. Yes, like Santa's coming. What happens to your environment? Then comes the joy that cannot be reversed, because now you know the principles are still there for you. Do not be harsh on yourself. It's baby steps for now. But diligence and sincerity attracts the aid of the entire universe, so never give up. It will make clear each new step and embed obvious truths of excellence and universal support upon your soul, causing great anticipation for each new victory and thereby sealing your commitment to this one simple requirement. I say simple but not easy. Again, remember, sincere effort counts. Next week, I will bring in Principle 2, Thought Responsibility, and give you some tools to help you get through that. Tools, again, from the Ageless Wisdom teaching, and very valuable and very effective. And you will find your soul being absolutely skippity-doo with delight as you come to recognize the nuggets of truth in each of them and put them into practice and see what happens. So I'm very excited for you.